Good morning, students. So today we're going to discuss about suspension. So far we have talked about pure matter and impure matter. So in pure matter we have discussed elements and compounds. So impure matter that we have discussed about mixtures, and mixtures are of about two types: homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixtures. In heterogeneous mixtures we can see there is one suspension and other one is colloids, which we're going to talk about. Suspensions are non-homogeneous system, or we can say non-homogeneous mixture. They are heterogeneous. For example, mud in water or chalk in water, you can see the particles of chalk remain suspended. They don't get dissolved. They don't get dissolved like salt or sugar. You will see the particles of chalk remain suspended. So we can say in which a solid are dispersed in liquid are called suspension. Suspension are heterogeneous mixture in which solid are dispersed in liquid. Solid are dispersed, or we can say suspended. A suspension is a heterogeneous mixture in which solute particles do not dissolve. They do not dissolve. They remain suspended throughout the bulk of the medium. And let's see about the property of suspension. Particles of suspensions are visible to naked eye. So if you add chalk in water, you will see the chalk particles. If you add mud in water, you can see mud particles in water. So in case of suspension, particles are visible. For example, if you take a beaker, you will see the suspension. Example, if you take a suspension solution beaker and if you keep it undisturbed for a longer time, you will see the particle get settled down. You will see the particle get settled down. So suspensions are unstable mixture because the particles get settled down, hence they are called unstable. They don't remain suspension any longer. Before they were suspension, and then after that they get settled down. So now there is a question: we can separate these particles through filtration. Yes, we can separate this mixture of suspension by filtration process. Now let's see other properties of suspension. Particles of suspension scatter a beam of light passing through it and make it path visible. So the particles of suspension are in such a size that they scatter the beam of light passing through it and make the path visible, which is known as Tyndall effect, which we are going to see right now. So dear students, the scattering of visible light by colloidal particle or suspended particle is known as Tyndall effect. So when a beam of light is passing through true solution, you can see there is no scattering of light in solution. But when a light is passing through colloidal solution or a suspension solution, the beam of light gets scattered and you can see the path of light is visible in suspension and in colloid solution. So this effect is known as Tyndall effect. So dear students, you can see the Tyndall effect in canopy of dense forest also. The mist present in the atmosphere act as colloid and scatter the beam of light and make the path of light visible. Mist means water droplets present in the air, and they act as colloid and they scatter the light, and you can see the path of light is visible. So this occur in, like for examples, even from your window the sunlight is sun rays is visible. This is because of the Tyndall effect. So far we have discussed that suspension is unstable as the solute particles settle down when a suspension is left undisturbed. So it is unstable. Particle can be separated by filtration. When particles settle down, the suspension breaks and it does not scatter light anymore. So suspension scatter light only when particles are suspended. If the particle gets settled down, it doesn't scatter the light anymore. So students, let's talk about colloidal solution. Colloidal solution look like a homogeneous, like milk. You can see milk as a homogeneous. There is no different phase, but it is actually heterogeneous. So colloidal solution, though they seems to be homogeneous, but they are heterogeneous. Their particles are too small to see with naked eyes, but they are actually in such a size that they are not dissolved and they scatter the light. Let's talk about colloidal solution, which are known as colloids. Colloid is a heterogeneous system or a mixture consisting of small droplets or particle of one substance. Disperse phase. Here disperse phase is solute, which is dispersed through a second substance, which is called dispersing medium or solvent. For example, in a solvent in which there are some solute which are not dissolved, but they are too small to see with naked eyes, and the solute are known as disperse phase and the solvent is known as dispersing phase. Disperse phase represent solute, dispersing medium is known as solvent, and solute is insoluble in solvent. It is not mixed, it is not dissolved, it is insoluble. Example: starch in water, egg albumin in water, milk is colloid, air containing dust and smoke is colloid. That's why you can see the sunlight is visible through your window, because the dust particle act as a colloid in air. Milk, toothpaste, mayonnaise are colloids. They appear to be homogeneous, but they are heterogeneous. And particles of colloid are too small to see by naked eyes, but are big enough to scatter the beam of light passing through it and make their path visible. So we have seen that colloid particles scatter the beam of light, and also the colloid particles are so small that we can't see with our naked eyes. We see like it is a homogeneous mixture, but they are heterogeneous and they scatter the beam of light. Now let's see difference between suspension and colloids and similarities. Similarity is both are heterogeneous mixture. Suspension is heterogeneous mixture, colloid is heterogeneous mixture. Another similarity is both scatter the beam of light and make the path visible. That is Tyndall effect. You can see Tyndall effect in both suspension and in colloids. Difference is that particles are seen with your naked eyes in suspension. In suspension, you can see the particles with naked eye, like mud water. If you add mud in water or chalk in water, you can see the chalk or mud. But in case of colloid, you can't see the particles, like in milk or in other colloids, you can't see the solute particles. So solute particles are not seen with naked eye. Second difference, particles can be separated by filtration. For example, if you have chalk water and if you filter it, you will get chalk residue. So you can filter the suspension. But in case of colloid, the particles are not separated by filtration because they are too small. They can filter, they don't come in residue. Third point, mixture is unstable, particle gets settled down in suspension. In suspension, the particles get settled down, so mixture is unstable. In case of colloid, mixture is stable, particle do not settle down. This was about the difference. Yes, there are some techniques to separate colloidal particles like centrifugation, etc. So dear students, the type of colloids are based on disperse phase and dispersing medium. Let's see some example. Disperse phase is actually solute and dispersing medium is solvent. So you can understand the solvent or the major portion is dispersing medium, which is solvent, and disperse phase is solute, and here solute and solvent are not mixed. Solute is not dissolved in solvent, they are heterogeneous system. Okay, let's see. Dispersed phase is liquid, dispersing medium is gas, so it is a aerosol type of colloid is aerosol. For example, fog, cloud, mist. Solid in gas, aerosol, smoke. Gas in liquid, that is foam, shaving cream. Liquid in liquid, that is emulsion, milk, face cream, etc. Solid in liquid, that is called sol. It is important because like normal solid in liquid is dissolved, so but if it is colloid it is known as sol, and if it's dissolved it is known as solution. So if it is colloid it is known as sol, milk of magnesia, mud. Gas in solid, foam, and foam is rubber is example. Liquid in solid, gel, like jelly, cheese, butter. Solid in solid, it is known as solid sol, colored gemstone, etc. That's it.